Hi, and welcome to the Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement Show. I am Linda Marchalk Yeich, president of the company, and along with me, Andrew Smith is vice president of the company. We have offices in Hazleton, Tamaqua, Pottsville, and Lancaster, and you can check us out on the web at www.northeastpasettlement.com, and all of our office addresses and phone numbers are listed there. Today we want to talk a little bit about, who we are and what we do. And I have served as a paralegal and as a licensed title agent since 2005, have over 35 years experience handling real estate issues and real estate settlements. I'm a licensed title agent here in the state of Pennsylvania, along with Andrew Smith, who also just recently got his Pennsylvania title agent license. As title agent licenses, some people sometimes confuse us with realtors. We are not realtors. We are title agents who will handle the settlement for you. Some of the players in a real estate closing would be a realtor, and they're typically the first person that you're going to see if you're going to list your home for sale. If you don't have a realtor and you have somebody that's ready, willing, and able to buy your house, you can do what's called a for sale by owner and have an agreement of sale prepared by an attorney and move forward with the transaction. The second segment would be then applying for loan and financing. So you would speak to a lender on a real estate mortgage, or perhaps you have the ability to do a cash transaction that you have enough saved in your account and we can handle a cash settlement. And then the last part of the segment would be us as settlement agents and licensed title agents to handle everything from the title search to closing. So again, there are a couple people that are involved in the transaction, from realtors to lenders to us as title agents. And why should you call us at Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement? We pride ourselves in handling closings quickly and efficiently. From the time we get an agreement of sale to closing, typically we can close something that's a cash transaction in as quick as 2 weeks. Sometimes, depending on lenders and financing, we can close in 30 to 60 days. When you do have a lender involved, they will indicate that they need a clear to close. So we will wait on the lender to have all of their documentation in the file, all of your information approved and ready to go to settlement. We're going to talk a little bit today about real estate terminology, because a lot of times I think we use some words that we're very familiar with and we probably routinely say them several times a day, but you as the seller or you as the buyer may not know what those terms mean. So to start off today, we're going to talk about an agreement of sale. An agreement of sale is the initial document that is signed by seller and buyer, and that sets forth all of the terms of the transaction. So in Pennsylvania, we recommend that you have a signed agreement of sale, which will document the terms and the agreement. If you don't get an agreement of sale and it's not documented in writing, neither party has any legal recourse. So probably the old days of shaking hands and coming up with a verbal agreement is not recommended, because there's nothing in writing to substantiate what the seller said or what the buyer said or what both parties have agreed to. Once you get a signed agreement of sale, we'll refer to that as under contract. So under contract means that you now have a valid binding agreement, and that is going to ensure that the seller is going to sell you the property. They cannot go out to somebody a day later where that second party is going to offer them more money. You are under contract and they've got to sell you the property based on your first initial agreement. Another word that we see a lot of times is as is. And if somebody is selling a property as is, That means you have to go through the property, do your due diligence, inspect the property, and that may be from everything to turning on the water faucets, to flushing the toilet, to turning on a furnace in the summertime to make sure that the furnace is properly working and throwing heat. Because if the seller is selling the property as is, it would be up to you then as buyer to know what you're getting into, and would there be anything that would be maybe in need of repairs or upgrades after closing. As a buyer, you do have the right to elect certain inspections. The buyer would pay for those inspections, and if those inspections revealed any deficiencies in the property, again, the seller's going to say, I'm selling it as is, and if you want the property, you either accept it in that condition subject to those inspection reports, but by having that inspection report, you know what you may have to deal with and perhaps how much it may cost you to fix and remedy those issues that are identified. The other thing that we hear a lot of is contingent. Agreements of sale can be contingent on a couple different factors. It could be contingent on a mortgage. It could be contingent on a home inspection. It could be contingent on a pest inspection, a radon inspection. It could be contingent on if you have well and septic, just making sure those well and septic systems are functioning properly as required by the state rules and regulations. If an agreement of sale is contingent, that means that those items are done by you as the buyer, and then you've got to have successful reports. So on a mortgage contingency, you're going to go to your lender and you're going to apply for mortgage financing, and they're going to give you a commitment letter which states that you are approved for the loan subject to various conditions such as an appraisal or income verification or money verification. If you elect to do any of the home inspections, pest inspections, radon inspections, again, the buyer pays for those reports, and then you have the ability to either accept the property in that condition subject to the report. You can, if you find a deficiency, go back to the seller and ask the seller to either make repairs or to do some reduction in the purchase price. But that would again depend on their position of whether it's as is or not. And then the third option would be if you don't like what that inspection report is showing you and you can't come to an agreement with the seller, you have the right to terminate the agreement. So the last thing then on the well and septic, again, there are certain people that will come out and do well tests, septic tests, and you have the ability to, again, get those reports and then determine, one, if you're going to accept the property, two, if you're going to try to negotiate something with the seller on repairs or reduction in price, or three, terminate the agreement of sale. So the agreement of sale is critical for those reasons that we just discussed. And again, knowing that you're under contract, whether you're buying the property as is or whether or not you're taking any kind of contingencies. Again, in today's market, there are more buyers than there are sellers and homes for sale. So a lot of the sellers are basically looking for agreements with no contingencies. And sometimes that's hard to do, but given the market with competitive offers, over asking price offers, escalation clauses, again, buyers really need to have some representation, whether it be with a realtor or an attorney, just to guide them sometimes through the process to give them that competitive edge in trying to find the right home for the right price. Buying a home is a life-changing experience. So we at Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement can help you once you've got a signed agreement of sale, but we also recommend that you hire the necessary professionals and experts that are going to guide you from the beginning of the process and signing an agreement of sale through hiring us and getting you to closing on time. So at Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement, we pride ourselves in getting you to settlement based on a closing date in the agreement of sale. We don't have standard office hours of 8 to 5. In this market, it is very busy, and so we try to remain flexible, try to close on time, and close without any issues. Most of us have our cell phone numbers of myself, Linda Marchalk Yeich, and Andrew Smith. So if there is an issue early in the morning or after hours, we are accessible. We're able to answer phone calls and provide answers to questions. So again, at Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement, we have offices in Hazleton, Tamaqua, Pottsville, and Lancaster. You can check us out on the web at www.northeastpasettlement.com. We're going to take a quick break, and then we will be right back with some more information on real estate terminology. Welcome back to the Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement Show. I'm Linda Marchalk Yeich, the company president, and along with Andrew Smith, our vice president, we serve buyers when they are purchasing real estate, or if you are refinancing and the lender requires title insurance, you're going to want to give our office a call. We handle cash real estate settlements. We handle real estate purchases where you've got lender and mortgage financing, and we handle anything whether it's residential or commercial transactions. We have offices located in Hazleton, Tamaqua, Pottsville, and Lancaster, and you can check out all of our detailed information at www.northeastpasettlement.com. And we're going to continue on with today's show talking about real estate terminology. And as I said earlier in the show, most of us speak this language every day, and sometimes to the everyday person who sells a home or buys a home, they may not hear those terms as frequently, and so we should not make assumptions that you know what that is. So today we're going to try to continue to educate you, whether you're selling your house or whether you're buying your house, what is actually involved in that type of transaction. So in the first part of the show, we talked about agreements of sale and being under contract, as is, and contingent. But once we get that signed agreement of sale, that's where Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement steps in with a signed agreement of sale, and we will open our file and we will order a title search. So what is a title search? A title search is going through the courthouse records and checking from the tax assessment office to the recorder of deeds, to the prothonotary, to the tax lien bureau, checking all of the filed documents to make sure that there are no liens, judgments, mortgages on the property, and making sure that we've reviewed all of the deeds for a 60-year period of time. And so we call that running a chain of title. And a chain of title is basically taking the current deed and the current owner. We review that deed, the legal description, and then we go back in the chain of title 60 years, looking at all of the prior owners, making sure there's nothing been changed or sold off in the deeds and the legal description and the properties. We'll talk about clear title and what is clear title. Clear title, after the title search is done, will show us that perhaps there was one mortgage out there. Perhaps there is a judgment filed out there. We've seen various judgments from credit card judgments being filed in the courthouse to adult probation judgments being filed for anybody who may have had fines and costs or restitution due. We may have seen tax liens, whether it's the IRS or the Department of Revenue. And then lastly, taxes related to delinquent taxes. If you've not paid your real estate taxes, they are liens on real estate, so we don't have clear title. And it is our job at Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement to clear title. So whether it's getting a mortgage payoff, whether it's getting a judgment payoff, or whether it's just merely paying those taxes to bring everything current on the property that may be owing. So the seller may realize those things are out there. The seller may not realize those things are out there. We identify them, we address them, and we clear up all of those issues so that when the buyer leaves settlement, they're going to have clear title. After the search is done, we prepare a title commitment. And what is a title commitment? A title commitment is the preliminary document that will show you that we've completed our search. It will have an effective date of the date that we reviewed the courthouse records, and it will show everything on there as far as an owner's title policy we're issuing to a buyer, a lender title policy we're issuing to a lender, the legal description, and then any requirements or exceptions that relate specifically to that property. So again, the title commitment is the preliminary document that we provide to the parties in the transaction, showing what the title search has revealed and what may have to be dealt with prior to going to settlement. Title insurance. So what is title insurance? Title insurance is an indemnity insurance that provides coverage to an owner under an owner's title policy and a lender under a lender's title policy in the event that there is something that comes back that's going to cause damage or harm to an owner or to a lender. So when we talked about clearing title, if we failed to clear title, or if there's something out there that on the face of the recorded documents that we may not see, such as forgery, missing heirs, a minor in the chain of title, those are some other things that title insurance will cover in the event somebody comes back and wants to make a claim on the real estate that was purchased. So as we move through the closing process from the title search to the title commitment, the title insurance is issued after closing and after all of the documents have been recorded at the courthouse. A bring down search. A bring down search is what we do from the date of our initial title search work and our commitment date through the date of closing. We want to make sure that nobody's gone out and perhaps gotten another mortgage on the property. A judgment's been filed in the interim. Again, making sure that we can convey title free and clear to the buyer. Settlement sheet. Settlement sheet is the document that sets forth all of the financial aspects of the transaction. It will include purchase price, closing costs, courthouse fees, and then the real estate taxes and utilities are included on the settlement sheet. The taxes are typically prorated, and any utilities are typically final utilities, but in case of a monthly billing or a quarterly billing, utilities get prorated. So a settlement sheet gives you all of the financial aspects of the transaction. Buyer's closing disclosure or seller's closing disclosure. Those are some new terms that we've heard in the recent days. They replace a settlement sheet in the respect that you have a lender involved because your lender does the buyer closing disclosure and Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement does the seller's closing disclosure. And those basically are the same as a settlement sheet setting forth the financial aspects of the transaction. Prorations. What is prorations? Prorations is basically taking a per day calculation of your real estate taxes or your utilities, and we're assessing sellers and buyers their appropriate share of that bill. So the sellers are going to pay from the date of the start of the billing period through the date of closing, and the buyers are going to pay from the date of closing through the end of the billing period. So prorations are basically an assessment so that each party is paying their fair share of the bill. We talk about transfer tax. What is transfer tax? In the state of Pennsylvania, there's a 2% realty transfer tax that's assessed on the sale of all real estate. So typically sellers paying 1% of the transfer tax and buyers paying 1% of the transfer tax. There are a handful of municipalities throughout Luzerne County, probably Berks County, where that transfer tax, there may be an additional transfer tax due based on the local municipality. So be aware of that if you're in one of those special municipalities with transfer tax. At Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement, again, we pride ourselves in guiding sellers and buyers through the process, from an agreement of sale to the title search to closing. We want to take all of the pressure off of you. This is our area of expertise, and we've been doing this for over 35 years, so we know the ins and outs. We know the real estate terminology that we've talked about. So we're here to answer any questions that you may have. If you don't know the answer, it's always good to ask questions, because a lot of times we may just make an assumption that you know what we're talking about. And we have no problems or issues for you to say, stop, please explain what this means. I don't understand. And if we have to go back through something a second time, that's what we do. We pride ourselves on closing quickly and efficiently, but closing, making sure that you understand all of the aspects of the real estate closing, all of the aspects of the real estate purchase, because again, this is a life-changing decision that you're making when buying real estate, and you should leave here having all of your questions answered. So we strive to provide top-notch service. We remain flexible. We try to work around people's schedules in terms of closing dates and times. Not everybody these days has the ability to take a whole day off of work to get to a real estate closing. So sometimes we have to close early in the morning. Sometimes we're closing at the end of the day at 4 or 5 o'clock to minimize the time that people have to take off of work to do a real estate closing. We understand the importance of buying a house. We understand the importance of closing, and we understand the importance of providing great customer service, making the process as stress-free as possible. So Linda Marchalk, Yeich, and Andrew Smith, both licensed title insurance agents here in the state of Pennsylvania, handling real estate closings, cash transactions, purchase with lenders. We handle commercial, residential. We handle vacant land closings. We have offices located in Hazleton, Tamaqua, Pottsville, and Lancaster. And again, you can check us out on the web at northeastpennsylvaniasettlement.com. As far as some other additional information, once we get through closing, our job is not quite completely done. We get all of the documents recorded at the courthouse. So we'll record the deed, we'll record the mortgage. After those documents have been recorded, we process that final title insurance policy, and we'll mail the buyers the recorded deed and the owner's title insurance policy. We'll mail the lender the recorded mortgage and the lender's title policy. A lot of times people don't think they get their deed because they have a mortgage on the property. Unlike when you buy a car and you finance that car, you get a title to the car, the lender gets a lien on that title, and once it's processed through PennDOT, the car title goes back to the lender to hold until you've paid off the loan. In a real estate transaction, it is different. You get the recorded deed right after closing, and we take pride on getting those deeds out to you in a 2 to 4 week period after closing. We want you to have your recorded deed. We want you to have your owner's policy. The lender gets the mortgage. So don't think that you're not getting a deed because you have a loan or a mortgage on the property. So that's one misconception that a lot of my buyers have when we are done a closing. They don't think they're getting the deed, but you are. So at Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement, we're here to help make the process as smooth as possible, as stress-free as possible. We've been doing this for over 35 years. I pride myself on providing good customer service. I also serve as the Schuylkill County Treasurer, and so I am familiar with the courthouse. I am familiar with the various offices throughout the courthouse. So please, when considering buying your next home and you've got an agreement of sale signed, call Northeast Pennsylvania Settlement, and we can handle your real estate settlement. Depending on what office you want to close at, we will close at one of our offices in Hazleton, Tamaqua, Rockwood, or Lancaster. We can close at a realtor's office. There have been times that we've closed at the property address. whatever is most convenient for my clients. We go out of our way, and we will travel for closings, and we will make the process smooth and easy. So look us up on the web at northeastpasettlement.com, and we would be happy to handle the next purchase or refinance that you're considering doing. We hope you all enjoy your day and the warm weather and the sunshine.